Good morning, everybody. I am here with Isaiah Castilleja, who is the current director at Metropolitan State University in downtown Denver. Isaiah has had quite a resume of throughout his life. He has spent he has spent time. He's in his seventh year at Metropolitan State University. Is a Colorado native, so he spent time at Landau Performance, Colorado School of Mines, um, University of Colorado, and then eventually made it to Metro. Isaiah has oversees 300, 400 athletes at Metro State every single day. Um, he's been a great friend of mine as I've moved out here, and has been just a giant resource for me. So I want to introduce Isaiah, and we will have a wide-ranging conversation here for sure.
Yep.
So Isaiah, we're all facing some pretty unique times that have been talked about ad nauseum. But I think it's still really important to figure out maybe there's a good thing that you've been doing that can help some other folks out here in this platform. So with the last kind of 2-3 weeks, obviously we've had a massive change across the world, and then especially in the country, schools shutting down, athletes' seasons getting cut off, for out of kind of nowhere, and there's been a lot of kind of questioning and turmoil and questions on leadership and things like that. So how have you been facing or handling this current environment that we're in?
It's been pretty crazy, and even for, even for my mentors that I've reached out to, who I look up to. I mean, we're all in the same boat. Like, none of us have ever experienced this. Even like the most tenured coaches you can think of, like, we don't know about it. So it's been pretty crazy. And I think luckily for me, and a big asset we have is the team builder platform, or
Sure.
for any coach, any of those online cloud-based systems, where we've been able to quickly pivot our programming. And it is unique for even our spring sports that got their seasons canceled, and it's really unfortunate because you feel for the seniors and everything. But we've been able to, I guess, pivot. With our spring sports, we still have them on their usual programming because they would technically be in season right now, and we want to give them some form of familiarity with what they would be going through right now, even though they're not. So in most of our sports, we actually just we program as is, and we've sent out a follow-up email to the head coaches. And luckily with Team Builder, you don't even have to download the app. You get an email of the actual lift. If you have a lift that day, you get an email like, "Hey Matt, this is your workout for today. Don't forget you have your workout." And it's in text in the email. So all they gotta do is just pull up their email on their phone and go through it. Or if they want, they can follow the link, go to the app, and it's more interactive. They could record their numbers, see videos and whatnot. But and then we're just going through, and I've kind of explained, at least our athletes, and may say front squat, safety squat, back squat, whatever you have access to, use it, whether it's a backpack or just, if you don't have any kind of exercise equipment, just find anything in your house that you think is heavy and you can hold safely and perform
Sure.
these exercises. It's just be creative. And we kind of let them know, we're all going through this together. We all don't know. So, that's, at least with programming, it's been pretty nice. And then, I luckily have the help. I got me and 2 assistant strength coaches, and then we have 4 interns. And so I kind of let the interns go through and develop a body weight circuit for 5 days a week for the next, I think, 4 or 5 months. So I kind of let them see what their programming looks like and made it a body weight circuit. And then I'm going to tack on to our regular programming so they could, if you do have some stuff, you can get this done. If you don't have anything, here's a body weight circuit that'll keep you going. But overall, it's just creativity. You can still perform a squat. All of our bounds and our plyos, you don't need any equipment. And then overall, just, I think they appreciate it and they're getting things. They stay moving. But we've also done, I've done a couple body weight circuits and a couple stretching routines for like the lay person, like
Sure.
normal people, because I know our president of our university is, you know, trying to keep staff and the regular students, they're trying to keep their like mental health healthy, like just, you know, like it's crazy. So I've been able to create some body weight movements and some basic stuff, and then, you know, I record a video, and then we sent. I just posted it, and then our president loved it. Like so now I'm like creating videos for the president and her staff to kind of look at, and then also we're posting it and getting it out to the regular students as well. Just kind of like, look, just because we're all quarantined doesn't mean, you know, you can't move around or like go outside, take a couple big breaths of air, and a couple stretches, because sunlight and fresh air does a lot, and that's essentially what we're doing, man. Because I told our staff and I told our admin, like, you know, we're all doing the same thing. Like, lucky enough, I was able to export a rogue barbell and some bumpers that we had, so I can at least get some, and a TRX. So I was able to, you know, I'm able to get a pump at home, but it's like, it's unique. Like we're all getting creative right now, trying to figure out, try to find some normalcy in this, I guess, uncertain time.
Sure, and I think that's kind of, you know, I'm more of a glass half full type of guy, and I think that a lot of great creativity will come out of this time. I think a lot of, you know, if you have the right mindset, if you have that opportunity mindset, you should be thinking of very creative outlets. You should be thinking of, how do I do this better? How do I pivot in such a unique way when, you know, one day everything's kind of as normal, and then the next day everything's shut down and all that stuff. You spoke about using, you know, cloud-based platforms. There's obviously quite a few different ones out there. What has it helped maintain some consistency? Obviously, we're talking routine. We're trying to keep the mental health of the athletes in mind. Presidents, you know, this whole university is obviously facing this, and getting that buy-in from the president is obviously, like, that's fantastic for all of what you've been doing. What have you noticed the most from that consistency, keeping people accountable, keeping your athletes, keeping your interns? I mean, you've always have great intern classes. What are some of the things that you're seeing with that?
You know, as far as staff, like we Zoom pretty often is what we use. So with the staff, and we just met up yesterday with all of us, and, you know, I'm still giving the interns assignments just because, you know, we all operate at a pretty high level, and then like we just stopped, and so I give them a week to like just gain their bearings, because a lot of them, you know, had jobs on the side, and they have to figure out what to do now to pay for rent and stuff. So I was like, look, let's just figure out just being like somewhat normal in all this. And then once we did that, we met up yesterday, and we give them some assignments that we have that mostly, I mean, you don't have to be in the weight room to do, and then we're just talking and see how things are going, and just, it's always good to see a familiar face. And even last week, you know, you go from seeing a couple hundred people every day, and then you go to nothing. Like, luckily I have my kids here, so it's just been like an extended weekend for me with them.
Sure.
But even after a while, like my wife's a pharmacy doctor, and she'd been working 12-hour days the last couple of days consecutive, and she'd come home, and I'm like really chatty with her, and she's like, "What's your deal?" And I was like, "I guess, yeah." I was like, "You're my only adult interaction I've had all day." So it's been like a unique situation where we're all getting used to it. But now we're gonna get weekly, you know, video conference calls, so we're at least talking with the staff, and then me and Jordan and Jamal, my assistant strength coaches, we're talking every day and always on text or on video, just to, you know, maintain our contact. And then you know, with athletes, it's just kind of like, since we have so many athletes and so few coaches, it's kind of like, look, here it is, and do what you can. Like, if you have a weights, use your weights. If you have this, use this. If you have nothing, you can do this. And then it's mostly been like social media interaction. Like, you know, we got a big Instagram following, especially with all of our athletes, and that's mostly just to meet our young athletes, like young adults, where they're at, and they're all on social media. So we're trying to engage them with asking questions on our stories, and posting videos and challenging each other because there's a million push-up challenges or whatever you want to do.
Sure.
And just get them going, just to let them know, like, we're still here. We're still here for you.
Right.
And they're always DMing us or sending us their stories like, hey, still working out, still breaking a sweat. But, we're pretty cognizant of the fact that, we got kids from, Italy, Australia, the Netherlands, and then we got, California to Florida to New York to Washington. Like, they're all here, or they all went home. So, we don't fully understand like the level of like impact this has had for them, or if they have any family members. So it's definitely like, look, working out can help, clear your mind, help, take your mind off something and get back to something you're used to. And then if you have any questions, just let us know. And same with the coaches, and coaches really appreciate the fact, like, for the spring sports, like the coaches that had to come to grips with, like, I just lost the season. Like, there's like nothing you can do to stop that. And like, a couple of our teams were doing really well, and they're like, it just was taken away. And then they have to deal with, how our seniors are going to handle it and like what they plan on doing. So, and at least for the coaches, it's going to be like, look, on strength and conditioning side, workout side, like, they're taken care of. Like, Absolutely. They have their workouts. They can figure something out, how to do a workout. And at least they'll be in shape and they'll be taken care of on that end. And like, you can just focus on trying to piece together what to do from what to do next. So
sure. Well, I want to highlight. I've gotten to know Isaiah a bit over the last 2.5 years, and he has always been a massive like guiding light for how to live your life. I mean, he is very successful in the world of strength and conditioning. He is your hashtag girl dad. You got three baby girls. Set of twins, I know for sure, and an older one. So you keep nice and busy with that, and you're constantly always pursuing the next thing, right? So I mean, over the last year, you were able to get that executive MBA done. That's been something for me, over the last year and a half that we've been talking about it. I just go, how does a guy who works as much as you do, who has a whole family, who has all of these other things, continue to pursue the next thing? You're always looking to better yourself. I know we always joke like, hey, if you're getting a PhD, I'm going to bring out the right hand and set you straight. But most importantly is that you are consistently always learning, whether it's, the next certification, the next modality. And what I love most about it is if you go kind of off the cuff and go completely to go get your executive MBA as a strength coach. I can say that I don't know too many strength coaches that have that. So kudos to you on that. But, the way that I would like to think about it is with all of your athletes, with your staff and things like that, when they see that consistent person such as yourself, it's always pushing to the next level. That's got to be something that they can hold on to, something that they can look to and say, all right, if Isaiah can get through all of these crazy times, I can surely get through them, because he has a lot on his plate and he's constantly working. So how does that kind of leadership and that philosophy to just constantly learn, push you every day?
It's a good question. I mean, for out of my 7 years, and I'm the first strength coach at Metro that they've ever had. And out of the 7 years, like the first 2 or 3 years, I was by myself. So it was literally like I had to lead myself through like the difficult time of not having an assistant or even a program. So, I took it on myself because I've started a business in the past when I was a little younger before I became a strength coach, and I understood the entrepreneurial side of like just getting kicked in the groin every day and like just having a whole bunch of things fail, and then also having success after, you put your failures together consecutively and you learn from each one. Eventually they'll turn into a success, and then after that, like the success will continue to roll on. So by the time I got to that point at MSU-Denver, I was like, all right, I got this. Like I've seen a hard time before. And at the time, it was just me and my wife, and I didn't have kids. So I was like, sure, like I'll pull 12, 14 hours a day and make sure like everything's like clean, even though our weight room was at the time wasn't the redone one. We know it was pretty beat up. But then, so like I've said it before on another podcast that at the time, Coach McKeefrey had just, and I was looking at it because I just did the podcast with Coach McKeefrey on the Iron Game Chalk Talk, and I was looking at when I was DMing him and asking him when he started the podcast, and like he started the podcast the same year and the same almost within a couple months of each other. I started at Metro, so I'm hearing all these coaches say, "Make it big where you're at, make it big where you're at," and of course I was just thinking, I was like, "Of course you're at Stanford or you're at the Carolina Panthers or you're with Eastern Michigan or wherever Coach Mack was when he started it." And I was like, it's easy for you to say because you're there, like you're at the top. But I was like, all right, I'm just gonna call you out on your BS. Like I'm gonna try to make Metro as big as I can and the best. I don't care if it's a D2 non-football school in downtown Denver. Like I'm gonna literally try to create like a strength and conditioning like mecca. I just want it to be the best at everything. And if it doesn't work out, like I'm gonna call you guys out eventually. Like you guys are just, it's easy for you to say, or it's gonna be like it's working. And lucky enough, it's worked, and it's been I'm been on a constant mission. If I can give it my best effort, and if I can make MSU-Denver like known for being, whether we're creating good strength coaches or having really good equipment or working really good business deals, I'm gonna give it my best, and I'm gonna see if it all works out. And 7 years later, we're here, and I'm still trying to prove the Isaiah from 7 years ago. Like this is still something that's worth it, and it's pretty cool to look back on it and see where we've come from. Like I think I made a post on our Instagram a couple weeks ago from like our old weight room to like when we first opened up our weight room to where it is now. I was like, all right, like. I was talking with my wife, and it came up as like a memory on Facebook. I was like, dang, it was only 5 years ago when we first opened up our new weight room. And even then it was kind of bare bones weight room, but now it's been pretty well upgraded. And it was my first intern, and we joke about now he's in one of the pictures. I had fired him the week before and we just got all of our shipment in. And Dan McKim helped us set it up with the Sornic stuff, but all the plates and all the other equipment, even like actual stuff, like I didn't have anybody. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to move like thousands of pounds of steel because they dropped it off at our front door, and I was like, I'm gonna have to move thousands of pounds of steel in like plate by plate and everything by myself. So I was doing, and it damn near killed me for a week because I was just moving in everything by myself, every nut and bolt. I was dragging it in, and then my intern that I fired came back, and he's like, look, I know you need help, so like I'm gonna help you set it up. Like I don't care like what it was. So, and he's gone on to actually be a really successful coach and sports science guy. But he was like, I'm gonna help you set it up. So, we had pictures of that day, and I was like, man, it seems like a decade ago, but it was like only 5 years ago. I was like, man, we've made some strides, but I always take it in, and I'm like, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and everything we've done, but I don't know if I'm ever satisfied. And it's not like a bad thing, but I'm just like, look, I won't be satisfied till, we have 3 or 4 assistant strength coaches, a big budget, and like the nicest weight room in the country. And then I'll be like, oh, maybe I could focus on programming or something like a normal strength coach. But for now, I'm just going to be focused on creating like a strength and conditioning like business model where it's more like, our product is the workout, but our vice presidents or general managers are our coaches, and like our product that we put out is very complete, from social media to whether we're doing like interviews or podcasts, and also like being a good strength coach is what I expect out of my assistants and eventually my interns. I know a lot of coaches focus on like, oh, be there for your athletes and everything. I was like, that's your job. Like, I expect you to be the best at that and the best at programming and know every type of programming model. That's what I expect out of you. But in the meantime, our organization as a strength and conditioning program, I want that to be like really high level, like our high level, our meetings are not just to meet, like we're like planning on the next thing. And even right now, like we have our t-shirt sale that happens in September, and we're working on our shirt design right now because we got free time. So stuff like that, and working on like a marketing plan for getting that stuff done. It's just there's always something to do, and I want to make sure we're the most efficient at that.
No, man. Like I keep saying, it's so impressive when I come in and come hang out with you and see how your assistants work, Jordan and Jamal, and how your interns that always they come through in the spring, fall, whatever, summer. And I've gotten to meet the last probably 3-4 groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's awesome to truly see like how you go from one step to the next. Kind of focusing, it's kind of a twofold question. So like with all this time that we've had, obviously you're a constant learner. Like what have you been reading? What have you been watching, listening to, whatever? And then how is that helping with the opportunity to better yourself once we get out of this thing, right? Like this too shall pass. This is a crazy time, but hopefully, within the next couple weeks, whatever, couple months, whatever we sit, we will get out of this thing. So what are you currently pursuing right now that maybe some folks that are able to listen to this could really benefit from? I mean, it could be a wide range of things. Like I'm reading currently right now, every day I read a little page from a book called The Daily Stoic. So Ryan Holiday, who wrote Ego is the Enemy, a lot of those other books that have become very popular.
Right.
It's kind of been a really good, just wake up in the morning, get ready to go, spend 5 minutes reading that, kind of processing it before you get on any social media, before you get on any, like even your phone to answer text message. Like I try to make that to be the first thing that I do, start with a fresh mind. And then it kind of helps guide me throughout my day. What do you do?
Yeah, I like the Daily Stoic. I typically do it either right when I wake up or right before I go to bed, just to keep things in perspective. But for me right now, I'm reading a book called Brands Win Championships, and it's by Jeremy Darlow. And it's essentially how the brand is what brings in the money, and the money is what helps with the winning on some cases.
Yeah.
So essentially it's how athletic programs, specifically in the collegiate and professional realms, you want to create a brand for yourself and the type of program you run, and then align yourself with the correct kind of organizations and people. And then also just, it's, you got to, money is the language we all speak. And I know a lot of strength coaches are like avoidant of the conversation of money, but I know my numbers, and it's the language that our administration speaks, because it's very rarely do I get a straight up no just because they don't want to. It's no, we don't have the money. So I'm like, all right, I'll go find the money, and I'll go find a way to bankroll this whole thing where it'll cost the school no money, and we put it in the right categories and stuff with our foundation and make sure everything's done correctly, and we'll go do this on our own. But we're coming up on a fiscal cycle where we can ask for bigger budgets and stuff, and I'm gonna have numbers and be like, look, this is not just a wish list or best case scenario. I was like, this is what we're fundraising for our 2 assistants to get paid. This is what we're fundraising to get new equipment, and this is our current budget. So this is like stuff we're gonna need. So just trying to align myself and keep sharp on the numbers. So for me, it's always been a big thing. So Brands Win Championships, I'm reading like one of my interns was a sports information or a sports marketing major.
Yeah.
And he gave me a couple of like sports marketing books so we can get our program. Because I mean, let's be real, if I didn't have our MSU-Denver Strength Instagram, nobody would know who Metro State is in Denver. Like we wouldn't be on anybody's radar. So
Sure.
We're really good at making sure we're always putting our best foot forward and trying to just show people what we got going on here. So that's why I'm reading Brands Win Championships. We're, as a staff, reading Weight Room Wisdom with Coach McKeefrey.
Yep.
And that one's definitely trying to get through the interns. Like there's more than strength and conditioning. Like for me, it's always family and strength conditioning, and that's it. Whether it's like the business side of things or anything else. So when I'm not reading or doing anything like this, I'm just jacking around with my kids. Like, it's pretty fun. They're at the age where I can just go place. So that's literally all I'm doing right now. I'm playing and then handling like the business side of things when I need
Right.
to.
You know, that's a bit of the silver lining to the whole thing. Is that how often do you get to just hang out with your kids this consistently for this amount of time? And I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I was talking to another strength coach at Mullen Catholic, who has Grant over there. He has two kids, and he kind of had the perspective of, he goes, when will I ever get to hang out with my kids this consistently? Ever. I mean, I bet you we could probably both say, for both you and I, like, our parents, we were never able to spend that much consistent time with your parents ever in our lives. So it's a really unique time. And I think, you know, like I said, I'm more of an optimist by nature. I think there's some really good things that could come out of this. You get to spend more time with your family. You get to do some more personal growth. You get to do some internal reflection, a lot of like really, really positive things that if you have the mindset to do it, those opportunities will come out of it. The creativity will come out of this time. We will be better because of this, not worse. So, you know, that's where I'm kind of thinking about it. And I'm trying to frame my perspective, because the negativity, obviously, it just zaps all your energy. It crushes you. Crushes your soul, it crushes your mindset, it crushes just like your day-to-day operations. And it's go outside, it's go hang out with the dogs if you have them, go for a big walk, go do something that is positive for your life and build on that positivity. So once you get one thing going, that momentum will keep going. You know, body in motion stays in motion. All of those really, really simple acts can really lead through this challenging time. So it's great to hear, man. It's always fun to hear what you have going on.
Just trying to be a good dad and husband, and then trying to make it so good at MSU-Denver I don't want to leave. So I guess that's part of the process. So appreciate the shout out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. I would love to love to do this again. If you want to give a little shout out or a little plug for MSU Denver Strength on Instagram, right? MSU Denver Strength.
MSU Denver Strength on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. The assistants are trying to get us on TikTok, but I'm still trying to figure out how that platform is going to be beneficial for us. But MSU Denver Strength on Instagram, and then just DM us and we'll get back to you. We put it out on a story yesterday. Like, if you want to do a Zoom video conference call, and just, you know, hit us up. And we actually had a lot of strength programs setting some stuff up. So, you know, we're always going to try to be moving forward, even in this time of quarantine. Like, it's just good thing is a lot of strength coaches have a lot of free time, so it's going to be a good time where we could actually get a hold of some of these. You know, some of these coaches are normally so inundated during this, you know, spring and fall, when they just don't have time to breathe. Now we do. So, and even like you guys are holding that video conference with a lot of big names on Friday. It's going to be just good stuff like that. So that's what we're doing right now. Just follow us, hit us up, and we'll talk shop. And I know we talk a lot of business, but I do take pride in the fact that all myself and all my assistants and even all my interns, like, we're very, very proficient on every major programming model, whether it's conjugate, you know, west side conjugate, triphasic, tier, any version of undulating, linear, no matter what it is. Like, we're in on it. We know all about it, because like I said, that's your job. Like, you have to be the best at all of them. So we're proficient at that. So if you want to reach out, we're not going to we don't have to just talk business and numbers and everything. We can if you want, but if you want to talk shop, me and my assistants are proficient at that. So give us a holler.
Well, let's set something up here. Even let's get Jordan and Jamal on here. Those guys have been awesome to get to know. They're both pushing really hard to elevate, and it's just another another testament to what you
Yeah.
do over there at MSU-Denver. So
Absolutely,
I
man.
really appreciate you, Isaiah, man. You're a great friend of mine, and you've been very how do I even want to say this? You've been very helpful in my transition into moving out west. You've been a great friend of mine. Like I said, anything I can do to help you out, man, you keep me in the loop, and we will collectively we'll all get better.
Likewise, man. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. You have a good day. We'll see you soon.